Have you ever felt like you're not getting what you want in a conversation? Do you find it hard to connect with others, especially when things get difficult? Imagine if you had a secret power to understand people better and turn tough talks into successful outcomes. Today, we're going to unlock that power together. Hello, English learners. I'm Celine, and this is English Journey, where we help you grow personally while mastering English. We release new videos every day to help you on your journey. Before we start, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. There will be key takeaways and a short quiz at the end, so make sure to watch until the very end. Never split the difference. A guide to better negotiation. Chris Voss, a former FBI hostage negotiator, wrote the book Never Split the Difference with Tall Roz. This book offers a new way to think about negotiation. It goes against old ideas like getting to yes or win-win negotiating. Why? Because when lives are at stake, those old ways don't work. Imagine if someone you love was taken hostage. You wouldn't want to split the difference. Voss teaches us that most old negotiation methods fail because they ignore human emotions. People are not always logical. They are emotional and have their own biases. Successful negotiation is about being emotionally intelligent and understanding the other person. It's about building a real connection, emotions, not logic. Decide if a negotiation succeeds or fails. Your goal as a negotiator is to build trust. You want the other person to see you as welcoming, understanding, insightful, and kind. You are not there to force them to agree. You are there to understand them and help them see that solving your problem also solves their problem. So how do we do this? It all begins with active listening. Idea 1. The New Rules of Negotiation. Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference, teaches us how to become smarter in any conversation. Voss was an FBI hostage negotiator for almost 20 years, focusing on international kidnapping cases. He went to Harvard Law School to learn about negotiation techniques used in the business world. During a practice negotiation, he tricked professors by repeatedly asking them how to send the ransom, which they had not expected. He used similar strategies successfully in later Harvard negotiation courses. Historically, hostage situations often ended badly. For example, the Munich Olympics tragedy and the Attica prison uprising ended in tragedy. After some difficult events, the FBI and other agencies created special teams to handle heated negotiations. In 1979, the Harvard Negotiation Project started. In 1981, they presented a new idea called getting to yes. This idea suggested separating the person from the problem, working together for win-win options, and agreeing on how to measure those options. However, professors from the University of Chicago, like Foreskey and Common, showed that people are not very logical and have cognitive biases. These are illogical mental processes. For example, the framing effect means people react differently to the same problem depending on how it's presented. The prospect theory explains why we sometimes ignore danger even when there's a high chance of loss. The loss aversion theory shows that people are more motivated to avoid a loss than to gain something. These ideas were explained in Common's book, Thinking Fast and Slow. He wrote that humans have two ways of thinking. System 1. Our animal mind is quick, instinctive, and emotional. System 2. This system is slow, careful, and logical. System 1 often guides our thinking. Voss found that the getting to yes principle didn't always work in real hostage situations. The problem was that trying to solve the problem directly wasn't always the best approach. Most real events were driven by emotions, and handling them required negotiation skills that focused on both irrational and emotional aspects. Simple psychological methods were needed to reduce anxiety, build trust, and encourage open communication. This led to the big idea of tactical empathy. Being good negotiators helps us get what we want in life. Idea 2. Try being a mirror for other people. To quickly build a connection, you can use techniques like mirroring and a calm voice. In 1993, Chris Voss was part of the FBI team dealing with a bank robbery in Brooklyn where people were held hostage. The robbers wanted an escape plan, and the FBI's job was to talk to them. Voss emphasizes that negotiators need skills to find unexpected information by asking questions. The goal is to get as much information as possible. The lead robber gave mixed messages to confuse the negotiators. It turned out that the getaway driver and 3 criminals had already left, with only 2 criminals and hostages remaining in the bank. One thief was in charge, the other was just following. Voss's job was to coach a police negotiator named Joe on how to listen to the robbers. Joe used a calm, soothing tone, like a late-night FM DJ, to calm the ringleader. By asking the same questions repeatedly, Voss learned more about the getaway car and driver. This story shows the importance of making the other side feel safe enough to open up. You need to tell the difference between what they want, aspirations, and what they need, the bare minimum for a deal. Pay close attention to what they are saying. To do this, use a calm, late-night FM DJ voice. Start with, "I'm sorry," then use mirroring. Mirroring means repeating the last 3 or 4 words the other person said. For example, if someone says, "I can't believe it's going to be so unbelievably cold on Friday," you might reply, "Yeah, Friday is going to be unbelievably cold." And then continue with what you want to say. This shows them you are listening and are similar to them, building trust. Wait at least 4 seconds for mirroring to work its magic, and then you can use it again. Idea 3. Make them feel like you really understand them. Human psychology suggests people want to be heard and valued. This is true in negotiations and all other interactions. If you can make the other person feel heard, your conversation will go much better. Active listening and mirroring are ways to make someone feel heard. Voss also suggests labeling. This means saying what the other person is likely thinking or feeling. These statements often start with phrases like, "It looks like you," "It seems like you," or "Is it true that..." Studies at UCLA show that when people name an emotion out loud, the activity in the fear center of their brain decreases. This makes the other person less defensive and more likely to listen, especially in intense situations. For example, a sales representative was talking to a doctor who said he wasn't interested in her new drug. But as they talked, the representative noticed the doctor became more lively when he spoke about his patients. So she used tactical empathy and said, "It seems like you really care about the well-being of your patients." This made the doctor relax and change the conversation. Even if your observation is not perfectly right, using a phrase like, "It seems like," gives you an easy way to correct yourself without causing conflict. Your goal is to actively listen, use tactical empathy, mirroring, and labeling to get the other person to say the magical 2 words, That's right. Idea 4. Get them to say no. This might sound surprising, but Voss suggests trying to get the other side to say no. People often say yes without really meaning it. Trying too hard for a yes can make them feel trapped or manipulated, which can work against you. When people say a firm no, they might feel like they have more power. Because they no longer feel threatened, they are more relaxed and willing to listen. They are also more likely to use their brain to find a good solution. So if someone isn't cooperating, you can ask a question that forces them to say no. For example, are you against this? Could it be that I'm going too far here? Or, are you sure there's nothing more to talk about? Voss says you'll be happy with the results. People like to feel they have the option to say no, so don't fight this by pushing too hard for a yes. Idea 5. Just 2 words can change the negotiation. Chris Voss says that that's right, and yes are the most important words in any negotiation. They show that the other person has been heard and understood. That's why it's important to summarize the other person's point of view and have them say, "That's right," to confirm you got it right. Voss tells a story about negotiations with a group in the Philippines in 2000. The group had taken an American man hostage and asked for a large ransom. The group leader believed Muslims in the Philippines had been mistreated for centuries. After months of talking, Voss told a police officer to fully explain everything the leader felt about oppression. After this, everyone started saying things that made sense, and the mood improved. The hostage was freed without any ransom. This shows how understanding the other side can save a life. The key to this strategy is to think like the other side. Attacking them to make them see things your way is not effective. Instead, focus on slowly and gently helping the other side lower their defenses. This is the best way for both sides to benefit. Idea 6. Change how they see the world. You might feel like you should compromise or find common ground, but Voss says that's not always the best approach. To reach a good deal, we need to try to change how the other side sees the world. We aim to meet as many different needs and wants as possible. The common idea of compromise says that meeting halfway will make everyone happy. But Voss argues that never settling for the middle ground is better. If you meet in the middle, both sides might end up with a bad deal. A win-win approach doesn't always work and can even lead to bad outcomes. It's also important to stop getting stressed by deadlines and the word fair. Deadlines can affect how quickly people negotiate. People sometimes use the word fair to justify actions that are not in their best interest or to try and get special treatment. Instead of feeling trapped by the word fair, ask for more information about why they think you are being unfair. If you can change the other person's reference point, you can change how they see the world. When you make an offer, you need to appeal to their emotions. Use a strong anchor, an opening offer or idea, to create a clear picture of the situation. Positivity is important, but if you're nervous about making an offer, using a range of numbers can help you avoid seeming too aggressive. Remember, people are more likely to act to avoid a loss than to gain something. Make it clear to the other person that if they don't move in the right direction, they will lose something. Here are some suggestions to get someone to do what you want. Anchor their emotions by setting low expectations and then exceeding them. This can make them feel like they've already lost. Most of the time, let the other person make the first offer, but not always. Don't talk about specific numbers to keep the negotiation open. Use odd numbers in your offers. Idea 7. Create the illusion of control. In a conversation, the listener often has more control than the talker. This is because the talker reveals information, while the trained listener guides the conversation toward their goals. You can use the other person's power to reach your objectives. Listeners. Judo is a technique where you use another person's strength to help you reach your goals. You should not ask leading questions that are meant to make them agree with you immediately. Instead, aim for small answers that don't require much thought and can be answered with yes. Negotiations are a give and take process. You should ask calibrated questions. These are important questions that start with how or what. If you ask the other person for help, they will feel like they have some power and be more willing to open up and talk. Avoid starting every sentence with why, unless you want the other person to defend something, because why often sounds like an accusation. Your goal is to get the other person to answer your questions in a way that helps you solve your problem. If the other side attacks you during negotiations, take a deep breath and control your emotions so you can ask a well-timed question. Remember that the other side always has a team, and if you can't get them to see things your way, you might get hurt. Try to make them like you and become your supporters. Here are some helpful, calibrated questions. How do you feel about this event if it's important to you? Please tell me what I can do to help us. How far do you want me to go along these lines? How do we get into this mess? What can we do to fix this? To what end are we working? What do you want me to do? If someone breaks a promise, you can send an email asking, "Have you given up on trying to work this out in a friendly way?" This can help you get back in touch. When responding to a statement with, "That's right," you can say, "It looks like you don't think my idea is a good one." Ask them, "How does this idea break our agreement?" to make them think. You can also ask more no questions to find and remove hidden problems. Use the other person's own words against them by understanding their main reactions and imitating them. Idea 8. Guaranteed execution from yes to how. Top negotiators know that an agreement is more than just talking. A successful deal happens when hidden information is found and used, and then the solutions are actually put into place. Yes is useless without how. In negotiations, saying yes without a plan for how won't get you very far. How to find how. Ask how questions carefully and repeatedly to encourage the other side to think. Keep them busy, because answering these questions will make them feel like they've done something important. They might think they are in charge, and when they make a decision, they'll consider your problems. Asking how questions helps you understand the negotiation situation. By saying, "How can I do that?" instead of "no," you are telling the other person to look to you for solutions, which can make them do something they wouldn't otherwise. Think about the bigger picture, not just the people you are talking to at that moment. Learn to understand the people behind the table so you can predict how they will act and use that information to your advantage. How you act can affect how others feel and whether they agree with you. The 7 to 38 55% rule is a general guideline. This rule suggests that only 7% of a message comes from the actual words used. 38% comes from the speaker's tone of voice. 55% comes from facial expressions and body language. Use this rule by paying close attention to nonverbal signals like body language and tone of voice. If a person's actions and words don't match, they might be lying or not fully committed to the deal. The rule of 3. Yeses can tell you if a yes is real or fake. A real yes includes commitment and confirmation. To test this, you can use descriptions, summaries, and scaled questions. Make the other person say they agree at least 3 times, as it's harder to lie when you are being very clear. How pronouns tell the story. You can understand how powerful someone feels by the pronouns they use. I, my, and me show that the person sees themselves as the most important. If there are many we, they, and them references, it means someone else is being talked about, or they are trying to refer to a group. The best outcome is when the other side treats you like a person and agrees to your terms. Using kindness and humor can help you overcome problems. Idea 9. Be willing to walk away. Before you start any negotiation, you should know your walkaway point. This is the price or condition at which you will simply say no and end the deal. It's important to know when a deal is no longer good for you. While a win-win outcome is good, it's not always possible. Nothing in life is perfectly balanced. There's always a slight shift in one direction. Your negotiation skills should also help you build and keep good relationships with the other side. One-time deals are generally less profitable than long-term partnerships because they often aim to take advantage of the other party. However, some negotiators go into talks only to get as much as they can for themselves without thinking about the other side. If you encounter such people, it's very important to have a clear understanding of your starting point and when to walk away. Even if the other side wants a win-win agreement, negotiations will involve details, especially when money comes up. It's important to know the range of numbers at which you would walk away. What do you do if the other side gives you a number that is your walkaway number, but you think there's still room for improvement? Ask questions that are not directly about money to keep the conversation going. You could talk about other details of the deal, or you can say, I see how you came to this conclusion. I appreciate the offer and would like to take you up on it, but I can't at the moment because of things I can't change. Could you maybe suggest a solution that would work for both of us? People value being heard, but they won't pay attention to others' points of view until they feel their own has been heard. To deal with an assertive person and show you're listening, use mirroring, labeling, and summarizing. These methods, along with calibrated questions, can help. Aggressive types might see silence as an invitation to talk more, while submissive types might see it as a sign of displeasure. To negotiate well, you need to know the other person's position and what they want. Voss suggests doing the opposite of the golden rule. Instead of treating people how you want to be treated, treat them how they want to be treated. If you feel stuck, a little assertiveness at the right time can help you take the lead. You can use I statements to show dissatisfaction with a bad deal. Having a ready-to-walk attitude can prevent you from getting stuck in a bad relationship or situation. Don't attack the other person personally or see them as the enemy. Instead, focus on the details of the deal. Even when setting limits, your main goal should be to build a cooperative, caring, and productive relationship with the other person. Voss ends by explaining the Ackerman bargaining model for making counteroffers. Let's say your landlord wants too much rent and you want to negotiate a lower rate. Your budget allows for $1,000 per month, so that's your goal. 1. First offer. Make your first offer at 65% of the price you want to pay. So if you want to pay $1,000, your first offer is $650. 2. Raise the amount. When they say no, you raise the amount in stages. Second offer, 85% of your target, $850. Third offer, 95% of your target, $950. Fourth offer, 100% of your target, $1,000. Note: the source text includes $1,100 in the list of percentages, but then reverts to $1,000 for the goal price. We will use the consistent progression towards the $1,000 goal. 3. Adjust and add. Then make any small adjustments to reach the final price. For example, if your offer is $996, you can round it up to $1,000. You can also offer something free to make the deal more appealing. Idea 10. Try to find the best deal you can. The final step of negotiation is bargaining, which many people try to avoid. Voss says that to bargain well, you need to get rid of any old ideas you have about it. The better you are at reading the subtle psychological signs and strategies people use when bargaining, the more likely you will be able to make good deals. We all develop our own way of negotiating throughout our lives, influenced by our experiences from childhood. If you want to use your strengths and be honest about your weaknesses, you need to develop your own negotiation style. Also, learn your opponent's strengths and weaknesses and how to adapt to their style. To create a space where people can talk freely and work together, you need the right attitude. There are several types of communicators. Analysts. They approach negotiations with a calm, thorough mind. Their main goal is to find the best possible result and avoid mistakes, even if it takes longer. They naturally use a calm voice, but it might sound cold because they focus on details. They prepare a lot and expect something in return. Often, their silence means they are thinking, not that they are angry. To build a better relationship with an analyst, use more positive body language. Accommodators. These people try to find common ground and want good outcomes for both sides. They value open communication and want to build lasting relationships. While they are good at building relationships, they might struggle to make their own arguments effectively. They use a warm and empathetic tone, but they might hide their true goals to avoid conflict. Calibrated questions can help bring these hidden goals to the surface. Assertive people. These individuals value their time and measure success by how many things they can achieve quickly. They are enthusiastic, honest, and like to win. Their way of talking is direct, and they prioritize getting things done. You can show you have listened and understood by mirroring, labeling, and summarizing. They tend to focus on themselves rather than others' needs, and may lack urgency about the topic. The aggressive type sees silence as an invitation to talk more. Voss again says you should treat people how they want to be treated. If you feel stuck, a little assertiveness at the right time can help you take the lead. Using I to express dissatisfaction with a bad deal can be effective. Having a ready-to-walk attitude prevents bad situations. Don't attack the other person personally or see them as an enemy. Focus on the details of the deal. Even when setting limits, your main goal should be to build a cooperative, caring, and productive relationship. Idea 11. Find the black swan. Black swans are unexpected pieces of information that can completely change a negotiation. They are unknown unknowns. things that appear during a negotiation and upset everyone's plans. In any deal, you should always look for the black swan, any new information that could change the direction of the talks. Ask open-ended questions and listen very carefully to what the other person says. Finding a black swan can be hard, but it can make a huge difference in your negotiations and career. Key takeaways from Never Split the Difference. Emotions over logic. Negotiations are driven more by emotions than by facts. Active listening. Fully focus on what the other person is saying to make them feel heard. Mirroring. Repeat the last few words to build trust and show you're listening. Tactical empathy and labeling. Understand and verbalize the other person's emotions using phrases like, "It seems like you." That's right. Aim to get the other person to say, "That's right," as a sign of understanding. Calibrated questions. Use how and what questions to make the other person help solve your problems. Don't fear no. Sometimes getting a no can make the other person feel safer and more willing to cooperate. Be willing to walk away. Know your limits and be prepared to end a deal if it's not good for you. Look for black swans. Be aware of unexpected information that can change the negotiation. Use the Ackerman model, a structured way to make offers and counter-offers. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to English Journey for more content that helps you grow. Quiz time. Now, it's time for a short quiz. Answer these questions in the comments below. Question 1. What is the main idea that Chris Voss says is more important than logic in negotiations? Question 2. What is mirroring in negotiation? Question 3. What phrases do you use for labeling someone's emotions? Question 4. What are calibrated questions? Question 5. What are the 2 magic words you want to hear in a negotiation? Don't forget to put your answers in the comments. Thank you for joining me on English Journey today. Remember, every book you read and every new idea you learn is a step forward in your personal growth and your English learning journey. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep building a better life. See you in the next video.